don't know where you were getting that. I've been saying no PPR for a minute. Draft settings, standard scoring. So a non-PPR league. We are doing a 12-team. We're going to give you guys 30 seconds to make your picks. If it gets a little slow, we'll speed it up. But we're going to give you that amount of time. We're going to randomize the draft order right now, everybody. Randomizing. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Oh, Fumble Sports is first. Oh, muy interesante. Okay, Fumble Sports is going to be first. I haven't gone first in any of our drafts, so very interesting. Fumble Sports is going to be going first. Very surprised. Not expecting that. Okay, I've got to scramble a little bit. I don't like drafting first, to be honest. I feel like it always doesn't work out. I actually like drafting later in the draft, in the first round, so very interesting. By the way, Frost is him, Aussie 1. Hope you're having a great day. This is rigged. I don't think so. We just randomized the draft order. I don't think it's rigged. Appreciate all of you guys being with us. As I just mentioned, we did just post all of our picks to our website, buttfumblesports.com, so you can go check out all of those plays. If you missed any of the picks that we gave out during the show, you can go check those out. Okay, enough of talking picks. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Fumble Sports mock draft, getting you ready for your fantasy football drafts. Every single day we do a mock draft here at Fumble Sports. Make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the like button. That's Fumble Sports on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, as well as Fumble Sports on TikTok. Make sure you guys are with us. If you want to join our mock draft every day, just DM us on Instagram, Fumble Sports on Instagram. We'll share a link with you guys and you can participate. This is a very special mock draft today. It is a 12-team mock draft, but we have 12 people participating, so every slot is accounted for. Every team has a human being behind it. So excited to get into this mock draft. Are you guys ready to do it? Let's get started. We've randomized the draft order. And we are underway, and Fumble Sports, unfortunately for me, is going first. I have to admit, I don't want to take Christian McCaffrey first overall. I want to take Austin Eckler. I really don't have an option, though. Christian McCaffrey is the best pick. I feel like I have to make it. Sure, Justin Jefferson may be good. Christian McCaffrey has to be the pick. So McCaffrey goes number 1 in this 12-team, non-PPR, no PPR snake draft. Who Dat goes next. Who Dat, a Saints fan. Let's see where he goes with his first pick of the first round. Justin Jefferson off the board. No surprise there. I'm going to move the screen a little bit to help you guys out. Austin Eckler goes third. Jamar Chase goes fourth. Kyle Klein next to pick. Want to make sure you guys can see everyone's picks as we go across. Tyreek Hill goes a little bit early, goes number 5 to Kyle. Bijan Robinson goes 6 to Andrew. Again, this is a non-PPR league. Jorge the GOAT is up next. Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button. That way you know every time Fumble Sports is live and you can participate in these mock drafts. Jorge's going to go with Saquon Barkley. IP Shade 45 next to go. Making our way through the back half of the first round. This is going to be a tough draft for some people. Wow, IP Shade 45 goes quarterback early, and it's Jalen Hurts. Very surprised by that one. That is a stunner for the first round. With running backs still on the board, to go for a quarterback and not even Mahomes, IP Shade 45, a very bold play. Candyman takes Nick Chubb next. That's the pick I actually expected IP Shade 45 to go with. Really surprised. Very interesting what we're seeing here in the first round. But this is why it's nice to have human beings, because it's not just ripping off the names that are projected prior to the draft. We're going to get some really good data from this mock draft. Derrick Henry goes to El Pinche, also known as Diego. Bobby Jr. goes next with Austin taking the last spot number 12. Bobby Jr.'s pick is Jahmyr Gibbs. Interesting that Gibbs made it into that end of the first round. Austin has that double up pick opportunity here. Let's see if Austin gets in on time. He takes Amon-Ra St. Brown with the first pick. Let's see if he doubles up on wide receiver. Nope, goes Travis Kelce. Very interesting. That's a little bit suspect to me. It means you're waiting a full, you can take your running back in the third round. Very risky in a 12-man league. Very risky. So we've seen a quarterback go in the first round. We've seen a tight end go with the first pick of round 2. Where will Bobby Jr. go after getting Jahmyr Gibbs with his first pick? He goes Ramondre Stevenson. So doubles up on the running back position. Again, this is a non-PPR league. No PPR. So running back may be a bit more valuable because those rushing yards, they come at a premium with the non-PPR league. Josh Jacobs goes next. Back-to-back running backs. Certainly has been the most popular position taken so far in the draft. Nick Chubb was the first pick for Candyman. Let's see where he goes in round 2. Good collection of pickers. I know a bunch of you guys from you guys joining our show or previous mock drafts. This is a good group of fantasy football fans. Candyman's going with Stephon Diggs. 5th running back taken off the board. Interesting, Amon-Ra St. Brown went ahead of Stephon Diggs in our mock. Top 5 players remaining on the board are Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and Patrick Mahomes. So A.J. Brown goes next. A.J. Brown goes to IP Shade 45. Really doubling up on those Philadelphia Eagles. Very interesting. Oh, Candyman. Yeah, tough spot. Tough spot to be in. Andrew took Bijan Robinson with his first pick. Was the 6th overall in the first round, which was interesting. I'm keeping my eye on where Bijan Robinson goes in non-PPR leagues. Tony Pollard is the next pick. By the way, for those that are watching on TikTok Live, make sure that you're sharing the channel. Don't stop sharing that channel. Let others know. Let's try and drive this audience. So if you're watching on TikTok Live, share the channel. It's free. Just hit the share button, copy the link, share that channel. Let's see if we can drive up this audience. Kyle Klein is the next one to be picking. He took Tyreek Hill with his first pick. And running out of time. Oh, ran out of time. Kyle's going to go with Breece Hall by default. Hopefully for his sake, Dalvin Cook isn't a addition to that Jets team. Jamar Chase was the first pick for Ben Barnes. He'll go Jonathan Taylor with his second. Patrick Mahomes goes next. Frost, interesting first 2 with Eckler and Mahomes. You could argue those are the first 2 picks at each position. What's the best strategy for an 8-man league? I have the 5th PPR. Chamber, is it PPR or non-PPR? Chamber, is it PPR or non-PPR league? I think that impacts things. I think pick 5, Bijan Robinson could be a good one. If it's non-PPR, I'd go more towards Nick Chubb, but I'd look towards running back. If it's PPR, wide receiver might be good. Who Dad fan takes Cooper Kupp? Okay, running back position right here. I have to get a running back. I don't want to. I want to double up on wide receiver if I'm honest. But I'm worried by the time it loops back around, I'll miss out. So I'm going to take Jalen Waddle. I feel like I got to get a running back. I'd just be waiting too long. I'll take Travis Etienne. I wanted to double up. I wanted to take another wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, to go with Jalen Waddle, but unfortunately, I feel like running back is too valuable. Didn't want to miss out. By the way, if you guys are participating in this mock draft, make sure you share it with others. Let them know that you're crushing it in your mock draft right now. Jorge, he's saying it's definitely a wide receiver. I think it's running back, but you guys know I value running back. Who Dat fan goes with Kenneth Walker the third next? Frost, where does he go? He goes Garrett Wilson. Frost is building a really nice team, everybody. Eckler, Mahomes, Garrett Wilson. That's a good 1-2-3 punch. Ben Barnes next on the clock. Top 5 players on the board right now are Devontae Adams, Josh Allen, Mark Andrews, T. Higgins, and Chris Olave. Najee Harris goes next. Ben Barnes got those 2 running backs in rounds 2 and 3. Running back is definitely the popular position right now in the 3rd round. Running out of really solid RB1s. Top 5 running backs are Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, and Dameon Pierce.
Come on!
Chamber, I said to take a running back, either Chubb in a non-PPR or maybe Bijan Robinson in a PPR. Jorge disagreed with me. He thought you should take a wide receiver. I don't think Jamar Chase is going to be there at the 5th pick. Jorge, that's one of the reasons I was saying that, and I'm not as high on Tyreek Hill as some others. I'd rather have the running back. Kyle Klein goes with the 3rd quarterback off the board in Josh Allen. Andrew takes Devontae Adams to go with Bijan Robinson and Pollard. Interesting pick there. If Jimmy G is healthy, it could be a very good play. Chris Olave going next to Jorge the GOAT. Shade 45 next to go. IP Shade 45 doesn't have a running back yet. You would think that's where he's going to go. Mixon, Jones, Dobbins, Sanders. He goes Dameon Pierce. Interesting pick. Very interesting pick. Not necessarily what I expected. Not necessarily a bad pick, though. Dameon Pierce could have a good year. Candyman making his 3rd round selection. Making our way through our fantasy football mock draft of the day. This is a 12-team snake non-PPR league, and every team is accounted for by a human, so we're going to learn a lot. Mark Andrews comes off the board, 2nd tight end. First tight end was taken with the 1st pick of the 2nd round. 2nd tight end went in the 3rd round. Interesting to note when tight ends are going to ultimately go. Quarterbacks, there have been 3. Tight ends, there have been 2. El Pinche is the next one to go. He goes T. Higgins. Bobby Jr. has gone back-to-back running backs. Let's see if he goes wide receiver, quarterback, tight end. Where's the play? He goes Joe Mixon. Austin, he's gone wide receiver and tight end. No surprise here. He goes running back, back-to-back picks with Aaron Jones and James Conner. Where do you play fantasy football, on which app? Elliot, I use ESPN. I do have a friend who has a league that's Yahoo that I've decided to join this year. But really, I like ESPN. I think they do a good job. Bobby Jr. takes Justin Fields. He goes earlier than I expected. Instead of getting a wide receiver, Bobby Jr. has 3 running backs and a quarterback. El Pinche goes quarterback. So you're seeing round 4. Bit of a run on quarterback right now. A little surprising to me. Did not expect this. 5 quarterbacks off the board. Jorge knows what I like. Jorge knows I'm a running back guy. IP Shade 45 goes next after Candyman took Miles Sanders. DK Metcalf comes off the board. Not a lot of running backs left. J.K. Dobbins, who's in a contract dispute with the Ravens. Cam Akers, who's part of that Rams team. Who knows what you're getting there. Dalvin Cook. Running back's a tough position. Top 5 players on the board. Devontae Smith, Joe Burrow, Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen, and Calvin Ridley. Joe Burrow goes next as Jorge the GOAT does have an auto pick. Not a bad pick, but again, it continues this run on quarterback. So 3 quarterbacks have been taken in this 4th round. 4th round telling us a lot about that. Jorge, that's very interesting. We're on the other side of this. So Ridley goes, then Devontae Smith. Two good wide receivers going next. That knocks out Ben Barnes. I'm sure he had his eye on a wide receiver to pair with Jamar Chase. Let's see where he goes now. Chase, Taylor, Harris were the first 3 picks for Ben Barnes. J.K. Dobbins, he got that third running back. Smart. Keenan Allen goes to Frost. Who dat fan? Next to go, he takes Madison. I'm not really crazy about anything that I'm seeing up on the board, so I'm going to be Hawkinson. I'll take a tight end, the third tight end. I'm also going to take Justin Herbert. Yeah, I need a wide receiver. I'm going to wait on it. I think the run on quarterback has me a little frantic, and I thought Hawkinson was the best player on the board, so I'm just filling out my starting lineup. Not usually what I value at that spot. Jorge hates his team. Oh, Jorge, Barkley, Lamb, Olave, and Burrow. Could be worse, frankly, Jorge. I don't think it's terrible. With Derek Carr throwing Olave the ball, that could be a good matchup. If Joe Burrow is healthy, he could be an MVP candidate. CeeDee Lamb with Brandon Cooks on the other side could open him up more for other passes. No deep safety coverage. Yeah, Jorge, sometimes that happens. Yesterday, I hated my team. Appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure you guys are sharing that channel. Make sure you guys share the channel. Fumble Sports. Hit that share button, and of course, then hit the link. Share the channel. Let others know that we do a mock draft every day, or let them know about this mock draft. DeAndre Swift went to Frost after Amari Cooper went to Who Dat Fan. Ben Barnes got Trevor Lawrence, another quarterback going. Kyle takes DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like quarterback went very fast in this draft. First 5 rounds. Dak Prescott, Watson, Tua, Richardson, and Cousins are the top quarterbacks remaining. This is a tough one. In a 12-team league, we're just seeing quarterbacks a bit of a run on them earlier than I expected. George Kittle goes to Andrew, 4th tight end taken. Of the tight ends remaining, Kyle Pitts is 1, Dallas Goedert 2, Waller is 3rd, Darren Waller, Evan Ingram 4, and Pat Freiermuth is 5th. Back-to-back wide receivers with McLaurin and Deebo Samuel. Let's see where Candyman goes with this round 5 pick. Last 4 picks of the 5th round as we make our way through this mock draft. This is a non-PPR mock draft, everybody. Jorge, I think that's a decent play. Mike, which one are you? Mike, which team are you? Mike, remind me which team you got. 3 wide receivers in a row. Interesting that the end of this 5th round, wide receiver is becoming the popular play. Mike is Frost. You think? You don't know your team? I really love your first 3 rounds. I didn't like your next 2. So the answer is, I think DeAndre Swift is okay. You probably should have gotten another running back when you took Keenan Allen. So I think it's a decent starting lineup. Another wide receiver taken. We have seen 4 wide receivers taken in a row, 5 out of the last 6, so run on wide receiver. Another tight end goes, Evan Ingram. He's the 5th tight end taken off the board. Keep track of where those tight ends go. DJ Moore goes next. Jorge, you're funny, man. Oh, Jorge, I wasn't asking Jorge. I was asking Mike Oxlong. I meant Mike. Mike. James Cook goes next to Austin. Mike Williams goes next. The run on wide receiver is very interesting to me. Top 5 players left on the board: Christian Watson, Kyle Pitts, Chris Godwin, Cam Akers, and Dalvin Cook. Pacheco goes next to El Pinche. He has some injury history or some injury issues right now, so keep your eye on Pacheco. Cam Akers goes to Candyman. IP Shade 45 with the 5th pick of the 6th round. Candyman, I agree with you. I thought that was a reach. I thought the fact that James Cook went ahead of Dalvin Cook, I thought is a reach. IP Shade 45 gets Kyle Pitts. Another tight end off the board. That is the 6th tight end taken. I think that's a good pick by Jorge. Middle through the 6th round, given that tight ends are going a little bit earlier. Candyman, I think running back is so valuable. I think people reached on DeAndre Swift, but you can't say they reached by too much because he would have gone pretty soon. Williams goes to Jorge the GOAT. Andrew now on the clock. Brandon Ayuk. Curious to know where Kyle goes with this next pick. Goes David Montgomery. Okay. Interesting spots where people are taking running backs late. Godwin goes next. Dallas Goedert, another tight end, goes. And Kamara. Okay, I need a running back. I'll take Dalvin Cook. And I'll take a flyer on him. I need a wide receiver. I'll take Christian Kirk. I'll take Christian Kirk. I don't want to reach on Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's not worth it. I know I'm a little loaded on the Jacksonville offense with both Travis Etienne and Christian Kirk, but I do like their offense. Candyman, that doesn't mean he's a bad pick, though, because I certainly think they're going to use him like they did Miles Sanders between the 20s, and you saw how well Miles Sanders did between the 20s. I do agree with that, though. Candyman's right. He is a better PPR player than he is non-PPR. Who Dat fan gets Deshaun Watson? That could be a sneaky good pick when all is said and done. He waited until the 7th round to get a quarterback, but the fact we have reached round 7 and Dak Prescott is the best quarterback available tells you in a 12-man league, really tough to wait on a quarterback because sooner or later there's a run on them and you just get shut out. Thoughts on Javonte Williams? What's the Broncos' O-line? You know, everyone's talking about Russell Wilson. Is that O-line better? That's kind of what has me curious. Waller and Njoku, back-to-back tight ends. Prescott finally goes. Jackson Smith and Jigba goes to Jorge the GOAT. I do think that is a good pick. 7th round, 8th round, that's where he should go. IP Shade 45 goes A.J. Dillon. That could actually be a sneaky good insurance play by Shade 45. Let's look at Candyman. Candyman has gone running back in 2 of his last 3 picks. Candyman running out of time. He out of time. He takes Christian Watson. El Pinche, known as Diego, next up on the board. Yeah, I agree with you, Jorge. I agree with you. Diego making his 7th round pick, 10th pick of the 7th round. He goes George Pickens. Very interesting draft so far. Learning a lot from you guys, drafting along with us. We're coming up about halfway through the draft, a little less than halfway through the draft, making our way through this 12-man league. Bobby Jr., next to go. He goes Lockett. Interesting that Jackson Smith and Jigba is going ahead of Lockett in a lot of drafts. Austin has the opportunity to double up on position here if he wants. He takes Michael Pittman with his first pick or last pick of the 7th round, his first pick of the back-to-back. Then he goes Geno Smith. That's his quarterback. He ran out of quarterbacks. That run on QB really hurt Austin. Maybe not, though. Maybe Geno Smith ends up being great value given the spot you draft him. Jorge, I agree with you, but what's one thing that I have noticed in watching or doing mock drafts with human beings or doing drafts with humans as opposed to the auto-drafting bots? People reach. Human beings have a bias. They like a certain player. They like a certain team. They force themselves into not taking the best player or the best position, but reaching on something. What app do you do your research for MLB? It's all me, baby. Outlier is what we use to clarify trends and analytics. So that's Outlier, but when it comes to those picks, that's all me. Candyman takes Mike Evans. Charbonnet goes to Shade 45. Jorge the GOAT is now on the board. We are in round 8. This is 15 rounds. So we're about halfway through this mock draft, everybody. Make sure you guys are sharing the channel. Make sure you share Butt Fumble Sports with everyone you know, sports fan or non-sports fan. We're giving out picks every day. We're giving out sports advice every day. We're talking sports, ranting about it every day. And of course, we do a fantasy football mock draft every day. If you guys want to get better for your fantasy football drafts, make sure that you join our mock drafts every day. You're learning a lot just by watching. You know, I'm only getting to make 15 picks in this mock draft, but I'm learning a ton based off of what others are doing, where they're reaching for a player, where they're reaching for a position, what round has a certain position kind of going crazy. We saw tight end and quarterback maybe go a tad earlier than I would have taken them. By the way, Quentin Johnston, couple of running backs, back-to-back wide receivers. Michael Thomas next to go. I am going to take a reach here. I am freaking in love with Zay Flowers. If you guys want to know one player that I think is going to have a breakout year, it's Zay Flowers. I am in love with the man. I am crazy about him. I think he's one of the best young wide receivers out there. I'm all over him. I need another running back. I'll get a backup tight end. I'll get a backup quarterback. But for now, I've got a couple wide receivers. I have 3. I could go with a 4th. I could go with like Tony or Cooks, but running back's too valuable. I'll go Brian Robinson. So Brian Robinson is the pick. I just need another running back. He showed some promise, especially in the red zone last year for Washington. So I'll take Brian Robinson. Not necessarily a great pick. Just felt like I needed the insurance. By the way, there were definitely some wide receivers up there that were worth taking. But I felt like having a 4th running back was more valuable than having a 4th wide receiver. And I have my starting lineup other than my kicker and my defense. Who dat? The Saints fan takes Taysom Hill. Notice he's taking Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Taysom Hill. That's something you know. That's something you'll notice is players, fantasy owners who love a certain team. Isn't it interesting how they end up drafting a lot of the players from their team? That's something you guys can take advantage of. There are a lot of Bears fans in one of the leagues that I draft in. I'm sure DJ Moore and Justin Fields will go way too high. Love it. Great. You can have them. I think Brian Robinson this year, even better. Yeah, I think so. I think Brian Robinson could actually end up being a nice pick. Especially in, again, like the 9th round. Making our way through round 9. Andrew is the next to go. Love the support you guys show Butt Fumble Sports every day. Appreciate you guys sharing the channel throughout today, hitting that live goal. You guys were awesome today during our show. Hope you're enjoying this mock draft. Butt Fumble Sports is live every single day with sports betting picks, fantasy sports information. Obviously, we do a mock draft, as you can see. So make sure that you're following us. No matter the platform, make sure that you're following Butt Fumble Sports live every single day. Elijah Mitchell is the next off the board after Samaje Perine. So you can just see, getting running backs right now, really important for the few that are left. Tyler Algier, someone I have my eye on. Jerick McKinnon. I think Damian Harris could actually end up being a better pick. As long as Dalvin Cook doesn't go to the Buffalo Bills, Damian Harris could end up being a better pick than people think. Interesting that Treylon Burks went here. I'm not high on him. He obviously will have better coverage with DeAndre Hopkins on the other side of the field. But it means I have to believe in Ryan Tannehill? Yikes. Not feeling that. Candyman is the next to make a pick. Let's see where Candyman goes with his 9th round pick. Final few seconds. Time up. Anthony Richardson. Oh, Candyman. Candyman, you stepped away and it hurt you. I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to get on the field in the first few weeks, potentially months of the season. Jorge hates his draft. Well, fortunately, it's just a mock draft. You learn from it, Jorge. You get better for next time. Jerick McKinnon goes next. Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd could be a steal. That could be a good pick. Bobby Jr. in the late 9th round. Austin is the next one to go. Austin Palmer. Kadarius Toney. I know he's injured right now, but could end up being a really nice pick. And 49ers defense. I think it's too early to take a defense. Round 10, still way too early to take a defense in my estimation. Round 12, round 13, that's when we should be taking a defense in a 15-round league. In a 15-round mock, yeah. Jorge, first time doing a 12-man team with all people in here. Yeah, it's challenging. Not easy, much harder. You can't anticipate what the auto-picking teams are going to do. Harder to get players you like. You scramble. It's like a real draft. It's like a real NFL draft in that maybe the guy that you wanted went just ahead of you or a couple picks ahead. You got to scramble. You got to know your draft board. That's why we're doing these mock drafts so you can get better every day. Sky Moore goes next to Bobby Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. is the next to go to El Pinche. Candyman, you're the next to go. Anthony Richardson was your last pick. Not crazy about that one. Quarterbacks remaining on the board: Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins, Rodgers, Daniel Jones, and Jared Goff. Damian Harris has come off the board. First running back taken in this 10th round. Eagles defense. IP Shade 45 goes defense as well. Interesting that people are going for that defense. Maybe this tells us defense is going to go a little bit earlier than we would anticipate. Jorge the GOAT, the next to go. I still think there are valuable wide receivers, tight ends. Jorge the GOAT got Tyler Algier. That's a really good pick. I like that Tyler Algier pick, Jorge. That's a good pick in round 10. Yo, Candyman, I agree with you. I think taking a defense in round 10 is a really, really bad move. Because here's the thing. If you think about it this way, that defense is only going to be really valuable, let's say half of the games they play. 2/3 of the games they play. They have a bye week. They're probably going to have a few opponents that you don't like them against. So you're going to forego someone who could get you 16, 17 weeks of good value in production for a defense that might give you 8 weeks of good production, maybe 10 weeks. I don't get it, Candyman. I am totally with you. Jorge wanted Cooks, but 6 wide receivers. Yeah, that's too many, Jorge. 6 wide receivers. That's a lot of wide receivers. Ben Barnes takes Dalton Kincaid as his second tight end. Not a bad move. Mostert goes next to Frost. Wide receiver getting down to the nitty-gritty. Okay, I'm going to double up on backups. I have 4 running backs. I have 3 wide receivers. I could get another wide receiver here. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer to do that. I'll double up on my tight end. I'll take Sam Laporta. Maybe a bit of a reach here, but I like him as just a flyer on the backup. I'll get a backup quarterback as well, and I will take Aaron Rodgers. Probably a reach on Rodgers. Probably could have waited on it. I like getting that backup. Again, because it's about the matchups. Sometimes he's going to face a tough defense, or maybe there's other opportunities to swap out my quarterback, Justin Herbert. Jorge hates my 2 picks. Love it, Jorge. I'm kind of planning out the remainder of my draft. That's part of what I'm thinking, is I'm thinking I take those 2 backups. I take a defense with one of my next 2, a defense and a receiver. But notice there's been a run on tight end. I'm glad I got Laporta when I did. Maybe you guys don't like it, but don't trust Laporta, and A-Rod is on the decline. Interesting. Could have gotten Sutton. Yeah, I'm not crazy about Cortland Sutton, if I'm honest. I actually have my eye on some sleepers for wide receiver, so I was thinking, I could just wait on them. You see, tight end is a popular position in this round 11. Lazard goes next. Jorge the GOAT, where's he going to go? This is round 11, so 5 rounds left. 4.5 at this point. If you guys love our content, make sure you follow us But Fumble Sports on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. That's But Fumble Sports. Make sure you hit that follow button. No matter the platform, make sure you're a part of this But Fumble Sports community. IP Shade 45 takes the Cowboys defense. Interesting. Candyman. By the way, I bet El Pinche is disappointed because Diego, the Cowboys fan, he always takes the Cowboys defense, I feel like. Continuing to work our way through our picks. Kirk Cousins goes next. New York Jets defense to El Pinche. Good pick. Interesting that defense has been popular in round 11. Didn't expect that. Did not expect that. Think it's probably too early on it. Tyler Higbee goes next. Next pick for Austin is going to be Bryce Young. Wow. Didn't expect that. Candyman is ripping on people. Yeah, Jorge, no good tight ends left. There was a run on tight end. That's why I felt like I had to get my backup. Bengals defense, yeah, I didn't get that one either. I didn't understand that one. I still don't know if defense is the right pick here in round 12. Bobby Jr. goes with Dulcich. Diego, also known as El Pinche. Next pick for him. He goes Michael Mayer, so the tight ends continue to go. So rounds 10, 11, and 12, we've learned that that's when a lot of tight ends are coming off the board, folks. Elliot, do you post your live bets like when you cash them, or do you wait to show us the next day? I show you guys the next day. I don't go back to the website and show you all the ones that cashed and didn't. That takes a lot of time. Panda with Wings says Bryce Young's going to have a big year. Okay. Man, 4 tight ends in a row. The tight end position is just getting picked. Round 12 is when the tight ends are getting selected. Not a lot of tight ends left. Wow. If you don't have a tight end right now, you are out of luck. Speaking of which, Jorge the GOAT doesn't have a tight end. He waited, didn't get a good one. Jorge the GOAT, auto draft. He goes Rashad Bateman. I can tell Jorge hates his draft. I can tell. Andrew is the next one to be selecting. Making our way through round 12. He goes Jamison Williams. That could be a good pick. A draft and stash. Kyle Klein making his next selection. Candyman got at least one Saints player. I see ya. Kyle takes Tua Tagovailoa. Ben Barnes. He's gotten 3 different positions and 3 different picks. Where does he go next? Ben Barnes running out of time on the clock. He goes Steelers defense. Justin Tucker. Frost goes Justin Tucker in the 12th round. First kicker goes in the 12th round. Wow. Yeah, you don't like the defenses, Jorge? I don't blame you. Defense went sooner than I thought. Quarterback went sooner than I thought. Tight end went sooner than I thought. Defenses, I'm going to go with the Patriots defense. I'll go with the Pats. I'm going to double up on defense right here because I feel like I'm going to need to. I'll go with the Seahawks, though I hate it. I feel like having 2 defenses, if you can't get a top 5 defense, having 2 defenses is probably a better strategy. So if you can't get a top 5 defense, try to get 2 defenses and kind of mix and match them. Jeff Wilson goes next. Frost takes the Ravens defense. Ben Barnes Where's he going to go? We're learning a lot in this mock draft. Ben goes with Russell Wilson. Okay. Jorge wanted the Seahawks. Sorry about it. Sorry about it. Drew wanted the Seahawks. Man, a couple people had their eye on the Seahawks, so I did a nice job of robbing you guys of a Seahawks defense. Kyle, auto-drafting pick after he runs out of time, gets Miller, running back of the Saints. Andrew is the next to go. We have 2.5 rounds left, everybody. Making our way through our mock draft. Elliott, enjoy the game, everybody. Elliott, enjoy that Braves game. Andrew gets Butker. Still some good wide receivers on the board. I don't know about tight ends. Tight ends went. Wide receiver, though. There's still a couple I like. Miami Dolphins defense. Daniel Jones goes next. There are not a lot of quarterbacks left. If you needed a quarterback, you have run out of time. You're out of luck. I'm out of time. Johnston is projected 93 on Sleeper, and ESPN has him 123. Oof. Jorge bringing some good data. Final few picks of this round 13. Candyman, Jacoby Myers. El Pinche, also known as Diego, making his round 13 pick. He's picking 10th in the round, and he went with Carlson. We've seen 3 kickers taken. Still feel like there's time to wait on a kicker. Round 14 feels like when you take a kicker. Myers for Bobby Jr. Okay. Austin Palmer. There have certainly been reaches on positions. McPherson goes next. Austin Palmer, making his picks. He went Bigsby. Oh, you like Thielen rather than Myers. I didn't hate Myers. I didn't think that was a bad pick. Kind of a run on backup quarterbacks right now for Bobby Jr. and El Pinche. Candyman next to go. He goes Commanders defense. Shade 45 the next to go. Top 5 wide receivers on the board: Elijah Moore, Adam Thielen, Darnell Mooney, Jonathan Mingo, and Rondale Moore. Tyler Bass goes to IP Shade 45. Jorge the GOAT, the next to go. Jorge the GOAT. Making the 6th pick of round 14, halfway through this second to last round of our mock draft. Oh, Jorge, you're killing me, buddy. You took the player I wanted. I was waiting on Rice. Jorge, you crushed me. That's a tough one. I knew Ben Barnes was going to take McManus because he takes him almost every time now. But Rice, that's a great pick. That's a great pick by Jorge the GOAT. That just ruined my day. I'm going to go back to bed now. Not even worth waking up. We will rate all of these teams. Don't worry. Once the draft concludes, we'll go team by team, and we'll review it. Okay, so Rice went. I was upset about that. I'm going to take a shot. I'll go Jonathan Mingo. I need a kicker. I'll go with Jake Elliott. And that's my team. Final few picks of the draft. Sanders goes next to who dat? Frost. He has a kicker already with Justin Tucker. Frost takes Darnell Mooney. Ben Barnes. After the most predictable pick of the draft for Ben Barnes, Brandon McManus. Ben, you're not going to be in any of my leagues. You're getting thrown out of all of my leagues. I'm just letting you know that. He takes Johnson. Chargers defense for Kyle. Chiefs defense for Andrew. Jorge the GOAT, who got the receiver I wanted in the last round. And Jorge the GOAT. Let's make that pick, Jorge. Final pick for Jorge in this draft. He is dragging this one out.
Come on.
Finally. Takes Dawson Knox. Okay. IP Shade 45. Next to go. Jorge, because you took so long, I get Rice. Brown, the running back, goes to IP Shade 45. Candyman is on the clock. Final 4 picks of the draft, everybody. Really appreciate all those who participated. This was a 12-team non-PPR snake mock draft, and we had 12 different people participate. Wonderful to see the participation from those who watch Butt Fumble Sports every day. Dicker the Kicker goes next to Candyman. Don't worry, I'm going to review everyone's team right after the draft concludes so you guys can get my notes and reactions. Macintosh goes next to El Pinche. Bobby Jr. with his last pick. Austin on deck with the last pick of the draft. Bobby Jr. waiting on it. Takes Adam Thielen. That's a good pick for the second to last pick of the draft. And finally, Austin Palmer is going with the last pick of this 12-man snake non-PPR mock draft. Austin's last pick. Let's see. Austin's letting the time run out. Oh, no, he took Romeo Dobbs. Okay, everybody, let me hide myself right now. That way we can review all these teams, okay? So let's take a look at each team and see how we think everyone did. Butt Fumble Sports, looking at myself, felt like I had to take McCaffrey, didn't have much choice. I like Waddle and Etienne, like Hawkinson and Justin Herbert. Wide receiver, though, had to wait on it. I really like Christian Kirk and Zay Flowers, so overall, I think it's a decent starting lineup. Understand why a couple of those folks thought I reached on Laporta and Rodgers. Overall, I think the bench could have been better, but overall, I give it like a B+. B+. Who dat? Don't like Cooper Kupp, but I've already mentioned that. Jefferson, running backs. I felt like you just started reaching on Saints players at one point. I think the bench, not crazy about it, but a Saints fan, loving on the Saints, surprise, surprise. But I give this closer to a C+. Frost, love how you started. Eckler, Mahomes, Garrett Wilson, love those first 3. Bench is okay. Thought you reached on kicker. Thought you didn't get the defense at the right time. Is Justin Tucker really that much better than all the other kickers at this point? No, there are a lot of kickers getting good points, so I just felt like that was a bit of a reach. I'd give this team about a B, maybe a B+ because I love the starting lineup, but I do think there's some reason to be concerned outside of those first top picks. Ben Barnes, like how we started with Chase, Taylor, Harris, okay. Did okay in the middle rounds. Overall, this is a decent team. Maybe you don't like the defense, maybe you don't like the backup quarterback, but this is like a B+ team as well. Doesn't really like shout out stud team, but it could be competitive. I think it's a playoff team, maybe not a championship team. Kyle, looking at his, Hill, Hall, and Allen, good players at each position, as long as Dalvin Cook doesn't go to the New York Jets. Devontae Smith, the pair with Tyreek Hill, I like, but Montgomery being your second running back, I don't like. You waited too long to get a second running back. Love your wide receivers, but hate your running backs. I think that's what's ultimately going to do you in. So I would give it like a C+ or C grade. Andrew, like the 2 running backs as long as they're healthy. Like the 2 wide receivers as long as they're healthy. You got Kittle, just waited on a quarterback. They went a little bit earlier. Maybe you could have gotten, you didn't go Ayuk and go quarterback, or tough, because I really like where you're at. Thought you got good depth at wide receiver. Overall, I just don't like your defense, especially if Chris Jones maybe sits out. Jorge the GOAT didn't like his draft. We'll see why. Running back, didn't do enough early. Got decent depth at running back, but didn't do enough. Loaded up on wide receiver, but 6 wide receivers. I like the quarterbacks, but overall, I understand why Jorge doesn't like it. I give it a B-. Team 8, someone dropped out. This was IP Shade 45. He took Hurts 1 overall. Wasn't crazy about that. First round pick of Hurts. Could have waited on it. Didn't like the running backs. Love where he went with wide receiver. Running back, he waited too long. Like the defenses of Eagles and Cowboys, but overall, felt like running back is pretty weak for him. Candyman, like the first couple of rounds. Went to Andrews, I thought, a round earlier than I expected. Thought he could have gotten another running back at that spot. Mixon, Aaron Jones, that's what I would have done. You could have waited on the tight end a little bit longer. Auto draft screwed him on the quarterback with Anthony Richardson. Got Kirk Cousins to supplement it. Maybe you could have gotten a better defense, maybe. But overall, I'd say a B, B minus. El Pinche, also known as Diego, like the two running backs, like where he went next with Higgins and Jackson. London could be a sneaky good pick. Pacheco could be a good pick. Like how he built his team. Overall, I think it's pretty solid. El Pinche, I'd go B+. Bobby Jr., Gibbs, Stevenson, Mixon, made sure he had those running backs. Still got decent value on his wide receivers. Could have maybe gone for a wide receiver over Joe Mixon. But overall, I'd give this team a B. Don't like that he got the Bengals defense. Didn't like that. Thought there were better defenses that he could have gotten. So the bench kind of falls apart there at the end. But I think I'd give it a B. Finally, Austin Palmer, like where he started, even though he didn't get running backs until later, don't understand James Cook. That made no sense to me. That's a bad pick. You needed better running backs, so that hurt you. Like how you finished, but overall, I'd give that team a C+. That is our mock draft for today's show.